In this video, we're going to give you the truth. In this video, we're going to give you guys the truth about UC Davis from our personal experience these past 2 years. Hey guys, it's me, Noelle, and welcome back to my channel.
And it's Emily too!
Emily is one of my best friends, and she's been my roommate for the past 2 years. Emily and I are both incoming juniors entering our third year, and let's just say we learned a lot about our college experience so far. A lot of things I never knew I would have to deal with in college, and we'd love to share that with you guys.
Last few videos that Noelle did on her channel were kind of more informational, like UC Davis 101, here are the basic things, and this video, we're going to give you the inside scoop on what we really think and some of our own personal experiences.
So basically, this is going to be an unfiltered, honest review of our past 2 years at UC Davis.
We'll be talking about things like academics, social life, living with other people, housing, the campus, more about it, and even things like mental health and taking care of yourself.
Before we get into this video, I'd really appreciate it if you guys hit that like button and subscribe button, and let us know in the comments down below if you are a current UC Davis student, and if you're not, would you like to go to UC Davis? Okay, let's get into it. First off is academics.
I think the big thing that's not talked about as much is that most people are uncertain about their academic path. I heard that the average time a student changes their major in university is 3 times. And so that's one thing to kind of consider about university is like, is it easy to switch and change paths? There's so many new things that you learn. I think like we could both say that coming to university is like a little overwhelming, just how much exposure you get to so many different kinds of things. And you kind of want to be able to have the option to choose and switch and explore.
That was so good.
No.
What the heck? You shouldn't feel bad if you decide to do that or decide to change majors like halfway through. Although considering like loans and like your personal investment into college, you should consider that. At the same time, I'm a big believer in trying new things and seeing what feels right for you. I feel like I would rather switch halfway than be unhappy with the degree I pursue. Another note on academics at UC Davis, I'm just gonna be real about this one. Classes are hard, and I have been a straight A student for my entire life. I'm not trying to say this to toot my own horn or whatever, but in high school I feel like things came easy for me academically. Making that switch to college, I didn't really expect to fail at certain things and certain classes.
Coursework is really difficult in university classes. They expect different things from you than just, you know, completing these assignments.
Busy work.
If you haven't failed a class or gotten like below a B before in high school, it's gonna happen at some point in college. And I think one thing that I learned about my academics, I think we both did, is like not to attach our self-value or self-worth or the value of our education onto the grades that we receive.
I hate to admit this. This is actually not my proudest moment because I feel like I wasted a class. But when you're registering for classes, make sure you know what you need to take. There's like My Degree, Oasis, talking to a counselor, so many ways you could figure out what you need in terms of your major and your college. So I made the mistake of retaking a class that I've already fulfilled the requirements for when I was in high school. And for some reason, I don't know why the system or counselors didn't stop me from taking that course. It does suck when I found out it didn't count for anything. I was like, wow, I just like wasted my time. But I took it positively, and I'm like, I refreshed my memory on this topic. But for you guys and future reference, make sure you know what you need to take and what you've already taken to save you this mistake.
Yeah, and I feel like the easiest way to do that is just contact your counselor more, your academic counselor. I wish I did that more actually too. I think I could have planned out my schedule to be a lot more efficient.
And don't feel afraid to do often check-ins. I know that one advising appointment is required per year, I think, but if you're confused about something, totally feel free to reach out to them. Send them an email, set up an appointment, and just get anything cleared up, because this is your time, your money, your tuition, and like every semester counts.
Sometimes classes are only offered one, either like if you're at a different school, like semester or quarter, and so if you need that as a requirement, the timing of when you take things actually matters a lot. And I didn't realize that.
I know a lot of people, a lot of seniors that graduated, but they actually had to stay one more quarter to fulfill classes that they weren't able to because they were only offered in like fall quarter or something. Yeah, just make sure to plan ahead and reach out for help if you need it.
Alright, now we'll be talking about our social life and experiences, things that we've learned. The dynamic changes a lot even amongst friends and just the kinds of people that you're interacting with and hanging out with in college than high school, for sure.
That is definitely true. In high school, you see the same faces every day. You might have grown up with these people since kindergarten. And when you're in college, people are from all different parts of the nation and the world, and you don't have the same schedule as anyone. Your schedule is like unique to you, which is crazy.
One big thing that I realized in university is your relationships, whether they're with like peers or your professors or your friends, takes a lot more intentionality because you're in charge of your own time and schedule. And so that's like a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing in that you can really choose the people that you want to spend time with. You're not like really forced into any friendships, but it's also a curse in that it takes more effort and you really have to try to be social.
You definitely get what you put into every relationship, every club, everything you're a part of is only as good as you make it. So yeah, that was really good. One huge thing that I learned is that not everything will work out socially. And that's kind of broad, but let me explain. In freshman year, I remember like the first week of college, I was really putting myself out there, trying a bunch of things I've never tried before. Taekwondo, like this ballet class. I auditioned for a couple a cappella groups. I was really trying my best to find my group and my people and my place. I could say right now, none of the things I tried in freshman year am I a part of today. And that's totally fine. You definitely change and grow and learn what you like to do and what kind of people you like to be around as the years go by. And sometimes you'll find something the first year that you totally love and you want to stick with all 4 years. It just totally depends. What I want you to get out of this is not to feel bad if something doesn't work out. This past year, I let go of one of my commitments that I thought would be super important to me and something I would be a part of for a long time, and I really integrated myself into this group, but I came to a point where I didn't really feel like it was for me and I wasn't really getting what I expected to get out of it, and for a while I felt really bad about that I wasted time and money and energy into this one thing. But then coming out of this experience, I'm so grateful and really like proud of myself for making that decision, but also just like not regretful that I had that experience, because I would have never known that it wasn't for me if I didn't try it.
Even socially in college, it's a lot of trial and error, and one thing that you kind of have to make peace with is that like it's okay to move on from certain people and experiences and commitments that you've had, and because it gives you opportunity and room for growth. But I think college is a lot about learning how to move on from, hard experiences or even just like social experiences that don't really work out. Exactly what Novelle said, like it's still a really valuable learning experience. In the beginning, really try to find at least one group or one thing that's like your people and that you like to spend time doing, because I found that that's an easier time to try to get integrated and meet people and make friends, because
you already love it.
Right.
College is a very confusing time, I would say, socially, because everyone really is coming from a new place. Even if it is just their high school that's near the university, they're still surrounded by a completely new group of people, and we all just want to have friends and feel accepted in some way. So if that means you having to try out a bunch of different things or giving something a chance that doesn't feel right at first, it's worth it, and you should definitely give it a shot.
One thing that I think I learned was like try as best you can to hold on to valuable relationships to you that you won't have as much access to once you go to college. I found that high school and hometown relationships that I wanted to maintain, once you move to college, it's really hard to continue those relationships, get together when you guys are on break. But I would say it's so worth it. I don't think you'll ever regret putting more effort into a relationship than less. If you decide that, I'm putting a lot of effort into this relationship but it's not really being reciprocated, you could always take a step back. But it's harder if you've allowed a lot of distance to grow between you and someone else to try to like compensate and like get close with them again.
The next topic we will be giving you our opinions and experiences on is self-care. And that term is thrown around a lot, but it's extremely important. And I think UC Davis does a really good job of helping students with that.
And I think we want to bring this up because every school has different philosophies around that. That's something that I did not consider at all going to university, but it's like a really, really big part of your young adult and university life is learning how to take care of yourself. One benefit that comes with kind of small town culture is just everyone kind of looks out for their people, and you do build like deep relationships with the little communities that you become a part of.
I agree with Emily. I think your well-being is something you need to take care of and invest a lot of time and energy in, because that's kind of the basis of everything else. If you're not in a good place mentally or physically, you can't really succeed or work on things that are important to you.
And that includes things that people don't often really consider when going to university, like how well can I sleep in this area? Or what kind of food do I have access to? If you're living in a loud, bustling city and you're a really light sleeper, like that actually might affect your well-being because you'll constantly be underslept. And if you like having like mental health support and counselors, that's another thing to take into consideration. UC Davis, they are very big advocates on having good mental health, and they are very, like, I think, culturally aware of all the differences that people face. Not only does the university have counseling, but professors and instructors are taught to be very gracious towards those things.
One thing I learned about mental health is that a lot more people than you think struggle with mental health. I really feel like this generation, or at least in recent years, the topic of mental health and mental illness has been so destigmatized, and we're working towards creating a culture of like being real about struggles. And I really appreciate how UC Davis is part of that culture. It feels a lot less awkward now, I feel like, to ask for help and be open about what you're dealing with. I met with my first counselor this past year, and it was a really positive experience. And yeah, I just feel like you don't need to feel alone if you want to reach out for help and you don't know where to start. Even talking to a really trusty roommate or friend or even a professor. Like, I feel like if you don't know anything and you just need something, reaching out to anyone at UC Davis, the majority of people at UC Davis, I think, could help you find answers. Another really great way you can practice self-care at UC Davis specifically is taking advantage of how beautiful and spacious and nature-filled the campus is. I mean, the Arboretum is a staple of UC Davis. It's like the 6-mile long trail / river, and just filled with beautiful trees. And not only that, I think just the campus itself is just green. I just think taking a walk in between classes, enjoying your time at the quad is so worth it, and really good use of your time. Your students, your days are busy, you have a lot of schoolwork to worry about. Taking time to take care of yourself is essential.
I realized that financial pressure can also be detrimental to your mental health and well-being. I think that's something to definitely consider, like when you're choosing a university. Like, if it's really, really expensive, maybe it's a better school, but if you feel like that's going to be stressful for you, like, that's something to take in mind. One thing that our house has kind of found is like the more organized you could be with financial things, especially when you're having to pay for things with other people, it's really good to clarify that earlier on.
One thing I learned on the topic of finances is that I am a big spender. Yeah. So budgeting, I think, is something I need to work on and implement in my life. One tip I would say going into college is expect to spend more than you think. Because, like, going back to the social thing, there's going to be a lot of social events, meeting new friends, going out. And as a college student, the one thing you want to do is go out and eat or go get boba or something. I'm not saying you have to spend money to have fun, but it feels good to have the freedom to spend your money without having to worry about it. So if you do want to have money to do all these fun things, make sure you budget for it. It'll save you a lot of stress at the end of the month.
A lot of what I've learned about like financial discipline and things like that. I had to do my own research. Anytime you make a step into some financial commitment or some financial growth, I would say try to do a lot of research and learning about it and how that will impact you in the future, because unfortunately now that like you're adults, you're accountable for whatever financial decisions that you make.
I feel like when you reach college, or even in high school, but college for me, you want to succeed and the pressure is so high, unfortunately, which makes students feel like they have to sacrifice really important things like diet and sleep and mental health in order to succeed, and that's just not sustainable or effective. So now we're going to transition into our final topic of this video, miscellaneous, because we didn't know what else. I think both Emily and I have super unique experiences and pieces of advice we can give to you.
I guess one thing that I would say that I learned in my college experience is actually it's really valuable to have conversations and build relationships with people that are not just your peers. It's really good to have relationships with your teachers and your professors, outside people in the community. Noelle and I were both involved in a church. I think it just helps you have a more diverse circle of people that you're interacting with. Your whole life is not going to be just spent in college, and so having friends that are like a few years older than you, maybe some of the grad students and stuff, could be really, really helpful for you in terms of like getting advice, having a mentor.
One thing that I learned in these past years of college is that long distance is possible.
Yeah, Noelle and Ruben are perfect examples of that.
Thanks, Emily. You guys have probably seen Ruben, my boyfriend, in a bunch of my other videos. This is really sad to say, but a lot of people didn't believe in us. And it's not like we're married yet, but a lot of people didn't really think it was the greatest idea to walk into this next step in our lives like 2,000 miles apart. And I mean, it's really hard to be apart from your person, but you're also experiencing new things for the first time and working on your own life, and you're having your own college experience. But if you're committed to this person and you really imagine yourself spending the rest of your life with them, it's possible. As long as you have really solid communication and a healthy way of dealing with issues. I mean, long distance adds a whole other level of complexity to a relationship. You can do it. You gotta go through the hard things to get the final good things. Take time.
It's hard. I've seen it be hard for Noelle and Ruben, but their ability to persevere and still maintain like their own individual college experiences. Noelle at UC Davis, like I would say that she's made the most of her time here and not let like her relationship hinder her. It's definitely possible to like have healthy involvement at a school that you love and be in a long distance relationship. UC Davis is not the most highly ranked school in the nation. It's like I think top 30 or something. That actually contributes a lot, I think, to the culture and attitude around the school. It still values academic rigor, but students' attitudes at UC Davis is definitely not like snobby or like we're all intellectuals or something, There's a lot of people with diverse interests that chose UC Davis for a variety of reasons. Things are very sustainably based, very like eco-friendly, and I think that has enriched my life, and I've found myself becoming like a little bit more hipster, a little bit more of like a granola girl.
Granola girl?
Yeah, have you heard that term before? It's kind of like backpacking nature, lives out of a van, does rock climbing, and that's been really cool to like adopt into my personal lifestyle. And so knowing that about the Davis community, I think is like valuable.
This is design related for all the design majors out there. Work on your portfolio. From a lot of my design peers, our portfolios look really similar, and that's because it's mostly built off of the projects and work that we do in class. So everyone kind of has a similar portfolio, which is totally fine, but I think something that'll make you valuable and unique as a designer outside of college is what you can do personally and what creative projects you can pursue outside of your classes. I feel like the more you work on your craft, whatever it is, it might not be design, you learn it really well. Pursuing creative passion projects is something that I'm doing and I would definitely recommend. Even though UC Davis is a bike school and you can totally bike from your apartment to campus to downtown, it's totally doable. I would recommend getting a car.
At least having like a friend, like a close friend who has a car is definitely really convenient, because it's hard to do everything. Biking, grocery shopping. If you have like a generally packed like social schedule, it could be hard to bike from one place to another. And just even having access to so much of what's outside of Davis, Sacramento, San Francisco, Lake Tahoe, like, you should definitely take advantage of those things. If you don't have a car, it's like a little bit more difficult.
Bikes to Lake Tahoe. Alright guys, that was some of our experience from our past 2 years at UC Davis.
We hope that for all of you guys watching the video, you'll have an even better, like an even more enriched and cool experience than like what we've had so far, because it'll be in person and stuff. And so yeah, go Aggies.
If you're a UC Davis student, we would love to connect with you and hear your thoughts about your experience so far. If you want to see Emily back, let us know. We all love Emily. Round of applause. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next, maybe UC Davis related video. Bye. If you're in high school right now and you're with your boyfriend or girlfriend or whoever, and people don't believe in you, just look them in the eye and be like, I'll show you one day. I'm going to invite you to my wedding and I'm going to show you that we can do this. Don't do it out of spite.